Hey YouTube, this is Zylok here with Media Hindsight, and I'm here to take you on a tour of the past, one game at a time. And today we're going to talk about a classic, one of my favorites, and that's going to be Castlevania for the original Nintendo Entertainment System. As you can see, this is my copy. It's seen better days, but it still works perfectly in my top-loading NES. And this is one of the best machines. If you can afford one of these, if you can just find one, get it, because this is going to play your entire Nintendo Entertainment System library perfectly, and it's going to remove the need to do this. Nobody wants to do that. Just plug it in and it plays them perfectly. So let's get on with the review. Back in 1987, a little-known game called Castlevania was published by Konami for the Nintendo Entertainment System. From the opening theme to the gothic tapestry of environments you will be exploring, Castlevania just screams fun. You play as Simon Belmont, and your quest will have you traveling through Count Dracula's castle. This castle appears every 100 years, and the burden alone falls upon the Belmont family to rid the world of this darkness. Like most games of the 8-bit era, Castlevania is a pretty short and to-the-point experience. 6 levels comprise your adventure to hunt down the Dark Lord himself, and can be finished in the course of a couple of hours. Gameplay consists of basic platforming and using your trusty whip to send all enemies back to hell where they belong. You also have access to 5 sub-weapons: knife, holy water, stopwatch, cross, and axe. Each sub-weapon is useful in different situations. For example, the axe is great at taking out airborne enemies, such as crows and flying Medusa heads, and the cross and holy water are amazing at dealing with tough bosses due to their ability to hit them multiple times per use. Sub-weapons require a certain number of hearts to use, so you can't rely on them all the time. Hearts can be dropped from enemies, but in general are found in candles scattered throughout each level, which can be destroyed using your whip. The haunting and blood-pumping tunes are absolutely incredible when you consider that they are created from simple blips and bloops that were simply limitations of the hardware. I think all Nintendo games should be credited for being so creative with their soundtracks and just coming up with some of the best music in gaming history with such limitations. It's pretty incredible. Konami deserves the utmost credit, though, for composing what could be argued the best soundtrack of the 8-bit era. The music and sound design matches each and every level, boss, and action perfectly, resulting in audio bliss. I mentioned earlier that the game's 6 levels could be completed in a matter of a couple of hours, but let's get real. This is an 8-bit Nintendo game, and this game is tough. Real tough. Levels 1 through 4 are hard, but very doable, with 1 or 2 continues by a seasoned gamer. Once you hit level 5, though, you're ready to have your skills questioned. Running a gauntlet of the game's most difficult enemies, and then finishing off with a battle to the death with Death himself, is going to test any gamer. Every attempt and every continue used will test your patience to the limit until you become so acclimated to the level that you actually make it to the end boss without getting hit. Unfortunately, that isn't enough to save you, because Death is rather difficult in his own right, flying across the playing field and sending sickles from all directions. This wouldn't be so bad if the control of your character wasn't so stiff. Jumping is the biggest culprit here. You'd better be sure you want to jump when you hit the A button, because you are now completely committed for the next few seconds. You can't redirect midair, and this can be a real pain when there are several flying enemies out for your head. Don't even get me started on how difficult the final boss fight with Dracula is. Oh, and whatever developer came with the idea for the floating Medusa heads, the Medusa heads, I hope they got fired, but apparently not, because they seem to be one of those staple enemies that haunts my dreams to this day. So while the levels are fairly short and sweet, there's a lot of replay value due to the difficulty at hand here. Don't let that fact scare you away from a truly classic and quality experience, though. The music and gameplay will keep you wanting to come back time and again, even after completion. So you might be asking what my verdict is on this game. Well, Castlevania for the original Nintendo is definitely one of my favorite games of all time, and considering it's part of the Castlevania series, which is definitely my favorite series of all time, I definitely hold it in high regard. But if I had to choose a score to give this game, it's definitely not perfect. The controls could use some balancing, and the difficulty curve's kind of steep, but I'd say it definitely deserves at least a 90 out of 100, just because it's a lot of fun, the music's great, the variety of environments is fantastic, so definitely give it a shot, guys. You won't regret it. Thanks, YouTube. This is Zylock with Media Hindsight, signing out.